This man killed his wife and then spent 18 months on television and in the media asking her to come home. Hello, stranger. Today I'm going to be telling you about the case of Mitchell Quy. Viewer discretion, as always, is advised. Mitchell Quy married Lindsay Wilson in 1995. At the time, Lindsay was pregnant from her previous relationship. They had a turbulent marriage marred by DV incidents, but they did go on to have a son together. By December 1998, the relationship was breaking down and Lindsay wanted a divorce. It's believed that this is the reason Mitchell took her life. He killed Lindsay by holding her around her neck for 20 minutes, and the children were asleep in the house when he did this. He then stashed Lindsay's body in a bedroom and put towels up against the door so that her children wouldn't be able to smell their mother's decomposing corpse. This is just a side note, but honestly, I always think I can't be surprised by people anymore, and then I research cases like this. The fact that there are people out there that can do this kind of thing is just terrifying to me. After he had taken Lindsay's life and then hidden her body from her children, Mitchell called his younger brother, Elliot Quy, a 22-year-old butcher, and asked him to come and help him dismember the body. And the younger brother did. Lindsay wasn't reported missing until February 1999 when social services became concerned about her lack of contact and they reported her missing. And that is when Mitchell the Narc started on his campaign to get as much attention as possible. He went on TV, radio, whenever, wherever he could, appearing on ITV's This Morning, amongst others. And he said things like, quote, "She left without saying goodbye. I thought she would have come back for the kids, but she obviously does not care about us anymore." He told the children that their mum had abandoned them. The cruelty is unreal. Even after taking Lindsay's life and dismembering her body, he was still besmirching her name wherever he could, however he could. He said Lindsay had run off with another man, and he blamed police for not doing their job properly and focusing attention onto him. He outright goaded them too. He sent one detective a Christmas card with a bottle of hair dye telling him to, quote, "Get rid of the grey bits to have extra confidence." Mitchell seemed to really revel in his newfound notoriety, even inviting news crews and journalists into the house where he had killed his wife to talk about how she had, quote, "just upped and left." Lindsay's parents had always disputed that she had run off and abandoned her children, and as the months passed, they became increasingly desperate. They even called Uri Geller. For those of you that don't know, Uri Geller was a famous illusionist and self-proclaimed psychic who claimed to have worked for the CIA, amongst others. But all he could tell them was to look near water. The case was highly publicised for the 18 months that Lindsay was missing, although it must have started to become clear that she was not alive and well and just off gallivanting with some new boyfriend. Police had always suspected that Lindsay was a victim of marital violence, but despite searches in the property and gardens, they'd uncovered no evidence. But sure enough, a tragic discovery would be made in June of the year 2000. It had been a year and a half since Lindsay's disappearance when a dismembered torso was uncovered in a shallow grave near Pleasureland Fun Fair in Southport, Merseyside. Just the next day, arms and legs were found along a railway line wrapped in plastic. These were the remains of Lindsay Wilson. Mitchell had put Lindsay's head and hands in a separate bag, and that had ended up at landfill in Lancashire among 200,000 tonnes of rubbish. They were never recovered. But Mitchell was arrested immediately after the discovery. He was charged with Lindsay's murder and admitted what he had done to her body just hours later. But he denied murder, and his defence put forward that it was manslaughter instead. Of course, what a coward. But Mitchell Quy was convicted of murder, and in January 2001 he was sentenced to a life term with a minimum of 17 years to serve. At his sentencing, the judge told Mitchell, "You killed your wife as long ago as the 16th of December 1998 in circumstances which I accept were not premeditated. What followed, however, was very different. Over the next 18 months, you embarked on a deception of breathtaking cynicism, appearing on the television and radio bemoaning your wife's absence and castigating police for directing their attentions towards you." And after his sentencing, Lindsay's father said, quote, "It has been very emotional for us, but all the family are pleased with the verdict." And he also said, I was convinced that he had killed her, and it was very difficult to live with, very difficult to control yourself. I just can't imagine what they went through those 18 months without knowing for sure what had happened to her. And I know, stranger, you must be wondering about the brother. Elliot Quy was sentenced to 7 years for his part in helping dispose of Lindsay's remains, and he was released from prison after 4 years. And their father, Michael Quy, was charged with conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. But I couldn't find any more information on him other than the fact that he passed away in 2013. But another very sad fact of this case is that Lindsay's brother, Peter Wilson, took his own life in 2001. My heart just breaks for their parents, losing two children in such horrific circumstances. I just hope that they're okay. As far as I know, they were the ones to take on the care of Lindsay's children, and I just hope those kids grew up in a peaceful and happy environment. And I hope they went on to have happy lives. Rest in peace to Lindsay Wilson. She was just 21 years old when her life was brutally stolen. As far as I know, Mitchell Quy is still behind bars, with his last parole application having been rejected in 2022. Good. But please, as ever, strangers, let me know what you think of this one in the comments. What did you think of Elliot Quy sentence and how long he served? And do you think that Mitchell Quy should have been released by now? Did you know about this case? I didn't, so thank you very much to Alex, the stranger who recommended it to me. And as always to you, if you've stayed with me up until now, then thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next one.